Hey, y'all, it's Rick with Uncommon Communion, and I am grateful to be able to record a second video for you today. You may have heard or seen in my part one video that I wanted to have a separate video in which I told my story of 9/11, 2001, and also to tell you a little bit more about Father Mychal Judge, and also to share with you his prayer and two excellent books that you can use to learn more about this true American hero and also potential canonized, beatified saint. Let's begin as we always begin by recognizing, realizing, and affirming that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of God. So, just a little bit ago, I did something I haven't done for a very long time. And I actually surprised myself at how many newspapers I had saved from the period right around September 11th or thereafter September 11th. And I just want to share a few of them with you. At that time, I lived with my wife, and on September 11th, 2001, our 6-week old son, they were born on a Tuesday, and September 11th, 2001 was also a Tuesday. So they were exactly 6 weeks old. And this is the coverage that was in the local newspaper, the Bergen County Register. So this is the Bergen County Record. So this is the first one. This is an extra section from September 11th, that evening. Here is one from the next day. This is Wednesday, September 12th. I want to show you this one that I didn't even know I had. This is one of the tabloids in the New York City area. This is from Thursday, September 13. And this headline is going to show the confusion and the uncertainty in the aftermath of that day. And there's the headline, 10,000 feared dead. Because you might remember, if you were around on that day or paying, aware, there were many missing people who ended up being elsewhere and not trapped in the building, but they were feared potentially dead. And then lastly, I want to share this one right here. This is from September 16th, a Sunday afterwards. And you can see right here above the fold is a picture of Father Mike and his funeral. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Father Mike in a moment. But first, my story. As I mentioned, my wife and I were living in Saddlebrook, New Jersey. We had just moved there. Our son was born 6 weeks earlier. We were still settling in. I was selling textbooks for a major publisher, and I was at home that day, and I didn't have the TV on, excuse me. I was working on my computer, working remotely, and the doorbell rang. It was our UPS driver. His name was Ted. And I got to know Ted quite well prior to this because he was always bringing me cases, heavy cases of books, and we always would strike up a conversation. But this particular day, he looked grim and pale. And he said to me, he broke the news to me. He said, I just heard on the radio that a plane flew into the World Trade Center. And a moment ago, another plane flew into the other trade center. And immediately, all my stomach dropped, everything about me constricted. And I said abruptly to Ted, I said, I got to go. My brother works in that building. And I ran upstairs, frantically, told my wife, who was, up there with our child, our newborn, and I turned on the TV and watched in horror as the live coverage unfolded. And here's the thing, y'all. I couldn't remember which building they worked in because I was in those buildings on July the 3rd, so only a couple months before. My brother worked in one of the buildings, and I couldn't remember which. When we visited, he took me up to where he worked, and then we also went up to the observation deck in one of the buildings, which was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing. But on that day, I couldn't remember which building was which. And I knew that the one with one of the buildings, the plane flew in high, and the other building, the plane flew in medium. And I knew that if my brother was in the building in which the plane flew in medium, he was almost certainly dead. So I didn't know. I assumed he was dead. And then, not long after that, watching the first building collapse and then the second building collapse was absolutely terrifying and gut wrenching. I remembered that I yelled and screamed and sobbed because I thought my brother was dead. The good news is he survived and is still with us. This is a trans sibling. So my brother is now a sister. And she doesn't talk about it because I think what she saw on that day was horrific and has changed her forever. She did say she was in the building where, not far below where the plane hit, and they were told to stay in place. But she was the fire marshal for the law firm that was on that floor, and she evacuated everyone and was the last person off the floor. And they were going down the steps in the darkness, seeing the firefighters, seeing the emergency personnel going up those stairs. And she now recognizes that none of those people she saw going up made it out alive. She also crossed the plaza, the big plaza in between, and she's mentioned very indirectly some of the things that she saw, the horrors of debris falling and bodies falling and mayhem and chaos, and also the people standing there looking up. He was wise enough, smart enough to get away and was actually a number of blocks indoors in a mall area where they were able to make a couple of phone calls that I eventually received one, and I was the one that told my parents that their son, my sibling, was still alive because they didn't know either. So I know everybody has a 9/11 story, and many of them, all of them are memorable. All of them are gripping. Mine is one of great gratitude because my sibling's still here. I was very blessed just not much more than a year later to be able to celebrate at their wedding. And that was just really amazing and so joyful because we could have that wedding. We could have that ceremony, knowing that, like so many other families who lost loved ones on the plains, in the field in Pennsylvania, in the buildings, to know that they had missing loved ones, missing family members that they won't see again, who died on that day. I want to briefly tell you the story of Father Mychal Judge and refer you to a couple of books. This is the first one right here. I will put a link to it in the notes here. This is a biography of him, really a beautiful story. He was quite a figure, y'all, and he was openly gay, a Franciscan priest who was celibate, openly gay, a recovering alcoholic, and just a really good person. You know, even before 9/11, 2001, in which he died, he was the first official victim. He was the chaplain for the fire department, and he died running into one of the buildings when debris fell on him and killed him. And even before September 11th, years before that, just a few years before that, when the Pan Am plane was brought down by terrorists, the Lockerbie plane, and again, this is even more years ago, he was very instrumental and involved in working tirelessly with the families of those victims. Many of them were college students traveling overseas to do like a study abroad, and he was very much with them as well. So this is a man who knew suffering, his own struggles, his own challenges, and also was not afraid to be there as others suffered. He is truly, as this book says right here in the subtitle, an authentic American hero. And I really think on this day, we need to hold him up. We need to remember him because we see all of these other vile human beings running around getting all this attention, being lionized, being held up as martyrs. And they're not, y'all. They're not. That is not worthy of them. They are not worthy of that call, of that title. I want to share with you from another book. And again, I will also put this into the chat. I got this on my Kindle. It is a book about it's called Mychal's Prayer, Praying with Father Mychal Judge. And the author of this, who knew Father Mychal, who actually Father Mychal was a mentor to the author of this little book. And again, I recommend, especially today, if you're looking for something to do, read this book, pray with this book. I know I'm going to. I need this today, and I recommend that you do as well. And here is the prayer that the author received on a prayer card from Father Mychal's funeral. I just showed you the photo of that. This is Mychal's prayer. Lord, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say, and keep me out of your way. Yeah, y'all, what a powerful prayer. I pray that every day when I do a beads prayer that I may have shared about already here. I'm going to certainly pray this today. And I hope you do too. And I hope on this day, as where we are in 2025, the aftermath of a horrific act of political violence and 24th anniversary memorial of one of the greatest terrorist attack on our soil, I hope that you can find some peace, some resolve to stand and be brave, to be bold, to not run away from the burning building that is our democracy right now, to have the courage to run towards that peacefully, seeking to be of service, seeking to help, keeping Father Mychal's spirit and life in mind. I hope you do that today, y'all, because we need to. The world needs to. We need to. So again, one more time, Lord, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say, and keep me out of your way. Thanks, y'all. Blessing and good. Be bold. Be well.